Hey everybody, Richie here from RW Hobbies. Welcome to my September bench update. So moving along and a lot of stuff to get through the next 20-30 minutes. Some interesting projects I've been working on, a little bit of a sneak preview down there, and quite a few purchases to show you as well, some interesting stuff. And you'll definitely see a theme throughout this episode for sure. So what I've been working on, firstly, finished the Hawkeye off, which we talked about last time. That's safely put away, out of harm's way, and I started with the Nimrod. So in that phase where just picking stuff out of my stash, which I've never really kind of built, it's been there for years, and for some reason maybe people have talked bad things about it, put me off, or just something, maybe for whatever reason I don't want to build it. So I've just been, or maybe I'm saving it, you know, for a special occasion. So I just pull them out. So the Hawkeye, I mean, really enjoyed that build, and now the Nimrod, which 72nd scale Airfix kit. Hear horror stories about it, people complaining about shape issues and needing all this aftermarket and stuff. I really enjoyed working with it. Now, it's up on the wall behind me because it's a pretty big beast, and if I move my camera real quick, there we go, you can see it hanging up there. And, move my camera around. What we'll do is I will put a little video in, as always, outside in daylight so you can see it better. So I know straight off the bat it's heavily weathered, and I know for sure if you look at reference pictures, they're normally clean and glossy and nice looking. I did find one picture looking like that, and that was part of the field, maybe at a museum somewhere. But I didn't want to just do straightforward paint color, because I thought, you know what, it's gonna look like a toy. I want to kind of break it up, make it look more interesting, appealing to the eye. So, you know, it's my model, so why not? So heavily weathered it, well, mildly weathered it, and did some color modulation and stuff. So yeah, so the kit itself, it went together actually really well, other than the wings and lower assembly. That was a little bit of a handful put together. I did need to use some brute force and some finagling to get that thing together, but I got it together, a little bit filling here and there, nothing too crazy, and it turned out to be a really nice aircraft. I don't really care about the engines, if they're slightly misshapen or whatever on the wall they're hanging up. It looks awesome. So what I would say is, don't spend, if you are building it, don't spend any money on cockpit stuff. It's just, you're not going to see inside the flight deck there. It's so small. Same with the Hawkeye. Just paint the thing black and you're not going to see a thing in there. Like Edward instrument panels, seat belts and stuff, you're not going to see it unless you cut panels off and stuff. Would get the mask set for sure. That was really handy. Plenty of stuff to mask up those little windows. Although for some reason, the little windows at the front, the bulbous ones, you didn't get masks for those, so I have to mask it up myself, which is a little bit tedious. What else? Would recommend metal gear, because you have to kind of put the gear and the front nose gear in early on, and trying to kind of moving this thing around, try and sand it and fill it and stuff. I broke off the front nose gear, which I couldn't find a part, it just disappeared. So I did do a lot of scratch building and some plastic art and some rod. It's so small, 72nd scale, I just crudely built my own basically, so it worked fine. But I would recommend the metal gear. It's like $15, and just purely for the fact because it goes in early. So if you're knocking it as you're building it and stuff, you're not going to snap it off. So I would recommend metal gear, and maybe the weapons bay. You don't really see it because underneath, but the one with the kit is kind of loose. It doesn't really stick on the sides or anything. It's kind of flexible. So I'd maybe, if I did it again, maybe consider the Alley Cat. Might be a little bit hard to find, but I know Black Dog resin do one as well. So maybe that one might be worthwhile. But other than that, I think you're pretty much good to go out of the box. 6 marking options and 6 different versions in the box too. So I wouldn't really worry too much about aftermarket decals. I did, and in hindsight, I didn't really need them. I went with a pretty plain scheme. I went with Resonate South, Prince Sultan Air Base, Saudi Arabia, the RAF version, well, obviously the RAF. Version, and did that because it was from 2003 and I was in Prince Sultan Air Base in 2001, so some kind of like little connection with me. So I went with that plain scheme. The aftermarket decals I had some nice kind of blue tails and green tails and various things, but even though I used them, I could have used the kit decals because they had a Prince Sultan Air Base based version in the box actually. So yeah, the stencils, a little thick, typical Airfix from what, 2008 I think the kit was. It wasn't not too long ago, but it was okay. They're a little bit thick, but once you put clear coat on, they're okay. Tons of stencils, like hundreds, some like tiny little dots, or you can barely read them. So in the end, I just left those off. Like you can't see them. There's no point putting tiny little stencils on. So that was a Nimrod. It's on my Patreon. if you want to go to Patreon, again, a quick little plug, it's only like $2 a month. I've done like a light kind of build series. I think I've done 4 or 5 weeks worth, about 10-15 minutes. I think actually one's about 30 minutes, talking about, you know, me putting together some of the issues I encountered, how I got around and that kind of thing. Not like a full-on video build series. As you know, last couple of months I mentioned it, they got very repetitive. I was doing the same stuff every build series, so I kind of stopped doing them. So we're recycling through old material. I think right now we've just finished the F-16 Aggressor, and that's the last one. There'll be no more after that anytime soon. So I've started doing on Patreon, you know, like a light version. So rather than set up all the cameras and microphone, lights and stuff, just with my phone, just filming, you know, throughout the week what I'm working on and highlighting certain areas. So yeah, so Patreon from Nimrod, that won't make its way to YouTube. That's hard to say for some reason. What else? So finished Nimrod, and then I was waiting for something to arrive, which just arrived yesterday, which we'll talk about. So I thought, for some reason, everywhere I was going on YouTube or online, I was getting F-14 stuff, like everywhere. Like F-14 videos, F-14 podcasts, you name it, F-14 everywhere. And don't get me wrong, F-14 is one of my favorite, if not my favorite aircraft. And I have the 32nd scale one. You know, I started in January, I think, this year. So I thought, you know what, I put it in the attic because I had so many problems with it and issues. I got frustrated, so I put it in the attic out the way and worked on other projects. So 9 months later, I went up there, pulled the box down and carried on working on it. So you probably saw my video from a week or two ago where major problems with the cockpit tub, and yeah, more problems. It's not a great kit. Trumpeter 32nd scale kits are normally, you know, pretty decent. Some work needing here and there. The Harry needed tons of filling and fitment issues, but they normally build up are pretty okay. But the F-14 was, yeah, it's a handful for some reason. So this is a D version. Again, I'll hold it up and show you in a minute, but behind my shoulder. So started with the cockpit tub, thought, you know what, I'll just spend a few days to tweak it, and I figured out some issues. I talked about the video, some of the side panels that just don't even fit. You have to just leave them off. The HUD is just way too big. It clashes with the windscreen. Some other issues as well. And then I did okay. Then I got on to the intakes. Now the intakes, get this, 28 large ejection pin marks need to be filled and sanded and taken care of. 28. So each intake had 2 parts. So 5 ejection pins on each. So that's 5, 10. On the other side, 15, 20. And the part around it, the shroud or whatever, that had another 4 ejection pin marks on each side. So 28. There might be more than that actually. So 28 ejection pins, and then trying to get the seam out was a real pain as well. For some reason I was having a hard time getting the seam line out. It's getting frustrating. I did a pretty good job in the end. I continued on working on a little bit more and got some more put together. At this point, I'm just, again, kind of done with it. It's gonna go back in the box, go away for another 9 months probably, come back out, and maybe I'll work on it again. It's just not a great kit to work with. All right, so here it is. In all its glory, and yeah, not having fun with this one. I want to close it up. I didn't want all the panels open, and it reminds me of Kitty Hawk. Kitty Hawk kits, if you leave them open, are okay. If you try to close stuff up, it just doesn't fit. Like all these panels on here, I'm not sure you can see on the camera, but they're not flush, and they just look kind of crappy. Even the fueling probe right here, it's not quite flush, and yeah, I had to put some plastic card in here. I'd like it, you know, the gap sound still back here. These aren't flush. This needs some blending and stuff. The back end isn't too bad, actually, that fits okay, but just not great. So one thing somebody mentioned too, which actually totally accurate, is the figures look really small, the pilot figures, the readout figures, and I think they do look small. They look more like maybe 35th rather than 32nd scale. And you might know I've had problems with readout in the past where I think it was the F-18D, the Mangles with Tiger Stripes I did recently. I think I got 2 pilot figures from Redoc for that, for the 48th scale one, and one was like 20% smaller than the other pilot. And I know when I reached out to Redoc, to start with, they were a little bit kind of defensive about it, but then they checked and they came back and said, yeah, they are wrong, and they came back and reprinted and sent me free of charge replacements, which they should have. So again, with this one, they just look slightly small in there. Like, I don't think, I guess I can pull my calipers out and measure it, but just don't quite sit right there. And a couple of things with this one. Obviously, I built this originally to be on, like, you see the pilots are relaxed, kind of looking, chilling, kind of, and I kind of did this as maybe on a carry deck, just about to fire up and head towards catapult. That's my kind of go with this one. Now I kind of wished I kind of closed up the door in flight because it takes up less space. You can kind of do it, you're angled, it looks good in flight. But obviously with the 2 pilots chilling, it doesn't really fit very well. Don't have the hands on the sticks or anything like that. Did put the Red Fox instrument panels in there too, which look pretty decent. Not what you really see on the camera. But yeah, there we go. So a little disappointed. Also, and second mistake, like this is a D, and now I wish I got an A, because I thought, you know, at least maybe make it a Top Gun one, and you know, I can make it, maybe get the decals for the helmets, and you know, you'll see it in 32nd scale and paint it as one of the Top Gun aircraft. But again, that's an A, this is a D. So now I'm kind of stuck down the alley of maybe doing a Tomcatters or a Bounty Hunters at some point in time. But again, not enjoying this one. I do love F-14s, but this was a bit of a pig to work with. You can make a nice model if you spend a lot of time with it, but again, yeah, it just needs small bite-sized chunks. So, been working on that one, and then the other thing was I got Fan Home, got the first part of the Millennium Falcon. You've probably seen a part up for that one. As always, part works don't really get many views on my channel, but that's the 100 part works that make the 43rd scale Millennium Falcon, which is about 32 inches long. It's massive. Every month they're sending me the parts free of charge, which is nice. Thank you, Fan Home. And parts 1 and 2 I've done. One thing I forgot to mention was on the video, if you did watch the video, screwdrivers. The screwdriver you get with the kit is okay, but to do the framing, the smaller screws, it just doesn't fit. So I used a Wera, W-E-R-A screwdriver. I think I used a PH0 or maybe a 00 might be okay from Amazon. They're pretty cheap, but they're really high quality screwdrivers. I think like 10 bucks. So if you are building part works, get a 0 and 00 PH, which is basically a Phillips head Wera screwdriver. I highly recommend. The one in the kit, again, is kind of cheap and it doesn't work with the tiny little screws. But that's, yeah, just got 2 parts, nothing really to see there. Over the next coming months, start building up, and then I'll get detailing it. I don't think I'm gonna do a lot of interior details like the photo etch sets and stuff, but I'm gonna do on the outside, definitely paint it, weather it, and you know, make it look a lot better than it does. So yeah, so that's it. What I've been working on. What have I purchased? Some cool stuff. Again, you can see a theme coming here. So let's start with the biggest thing, and some of you might know what it is, some may not. And I've got a box here to show you, so you can see the camera, and my hand's in the way here, but it's a Silhouette Cameo 4. And you're probably asking, what is a Silhouette Cameo 4? That's a great question. I don't know how to describe it. It's maybe like a home CNC vinyl cutting machine kind of thing, which links to your computer, precision cutting. And what that basically means is I can do my own masks. So as you've seen in the past, I've done them, you know, on a photocopier and, you know, using Tamiya tape and stuff. Now I can actually do them on a computer, scan it all in, get it all upgraded, and then just print out the masks on the same paper as Edward has, or the other like vinyl, and just die cuts them, and just peel it off and stick it on the aircraft. And you can do any scale you want. You can change any design. Not only can I do masks, but I can also cut styrene sheet as well, like thin corduroy, maybe an 1/8 inch styrene sheet, maybe a little bit bigger. You can cut no problem at all with that, and you can do scratch building stuff. So yeah, it's looked online. A lot of you see is the Cricut machine. It's like spelled Cricut, but it's pronounced Cricut. They have a big marketing campaign, so you'll see it everywhere. You see Cricut. You don't really see Silhouette around. But went online, did a lot of research in the forums, and with model making, everybody recommends the Silhouette machines. So the Cameo 4, or you can get the, it's about 200 bucks, or you can get the portrait machine, which is a lot cheaper, but it's a lot smaller. But I figured, hey, let's get the bigger one. It's got Bluetooth, so you can wirelessly connect with your computer and do that kind of stuff. The software comes with it, it's pretty good. You can upgrade it to a design level software, which I did. It's 50 bucks one-time fee, but over Labor Day, they had a half-price sale, so I got it for $25. So $25 for some really good software. Just got to learn it, you know, learning curve, just like buying a 3D printer. You got to learn the software, and once you're up and running, I'm sure you do some pretty cool stuff. And also, like maybe bases, you can do, you know, again, print out paint masks and make for masks for bases, or markings like stars and bars, letters, numbers, all that kind of stuff. You can do it all on this machine. So again, model making community. There's some Facebook groups. Recommend Silhouette. It cuts a little bit better than the Cricut for what we do, and again, the software is better, whereas the Cricut machine is very kind of clunky, very basic software, and it's web-based, cloud-based, whereas this is, the Cameo software is on a PC, locally based software. So that's why I went with this one. I almost bought the Cricut machine, but again, went with the Cameo 4, and had a good price on it over, again, Labor Day, so I got a bit of money off it as well. So yeah, so stay tuned for upcoming videos where once I get learning on this thing, I'll do some videos printing out some canopy masks and that kind of stuff. So that's a big purchase. Another thing I purchased, which is, I don't know why I never had one of these. They're not expensive, they're like $8. and that's a digital caliper. So rather than measuring a ruler, which I've done for years, I can now digitally measure stuff and help, you know. So there we go. So yeah, $8 on Amazon, and you can't go wrong, right? So digital calipers. Also, which I forgot to mention, but the Nimrod up on the wall is hung up with a guitar hook, which is, I got one of these too. So I got 2 guitar hooks from Amazon for like $5.99, and basically, you know, screws to the wall, and you have these 2 prongs which you can move around, which is like foam covered. And how it's basically hung up on the wall is you basically, you know, stick the aircraft through the middle with the horizontal stabilizers balancing on the 2 prongs. Now I picked this up from Phil Flory of the Flory Models. He has all his bombers up there for years using them. And I've always been apprehensive because resting the whole model on the 2 stabilizers, I'm like, I'll come in the morning, it'll be broken off. Just a thin bit of glue, it's gonna be broken off, crash on the floor. But yeah, that's been up almost a week. It's been okay, fingers crossed. And he's had his stuff up for years and no problems at all. So bigger aircraft, for sure. Again, these little guitar hooks, $6 on Amazon for 2 of them. And yeah, I didn't bubble any plugs or anything, just drilled straight to the drywall because it's a plastic kit. It's not going to weigh like a, you know, weight of a wooden guitar. So yeah, it's worked out pretty good. The only thing I'd say is it's not flush against the wall. It kind of sticks out a little bit. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because there's a nose weight in there or something, but it definitely kind of, you know, the wall's flush. It kind of sticks out a little bit. It's not quite level. I tried tweaking it, but I don't want to break anything. So yeah, again, it works out really good. Out of the way, it doesn't catch dust so much, and good way for displaying big aircraft like the Nimrod there. So did that. What else? Now some decals. Like I mentioned all the time, if you want decals, see them, buy them, because you can't, the limited supply of decals, once they're gone, you can't buy them again. And I've got some decals here for a Ninja motorcycle from 1986, and some of you might know what it is, and the teaser, and it's going to be for a certain movie that came out in 1986, and that was Top Gun and Maverick's Ninja motorcycle. You can actually buy decals for his bike. You can see there, and it's Airshima do the kit. It's Airshima do an 85 Ninja 900R, which is basically the same one as the 86. So Airshima, pretty readily available, not too expensive. And not only do you get the decals, so you can paint, you know, the bike, you know, the patches and stuff on the side, but it also comes with a resin 3D printed license plate number on there, which is pretty awesome. So at some point in time, you know, I built a couple of motorcycles. I can build a Mavericks Top Gun motorcycle, which I thought was pretty cool. I actually have 2 of these for some reason. I'm not sure how I ended up with 2. I think I ordered from one place, canceled the order, and they still shipped it, so end up with 2. Next up, decals. Actually got two sets the same. I have 48 scale, as you can see here, and these are see a theme here, Top Gun decals. So we got Iceman, we got Maverick, and we got I forgot the third one. I think it's got Cougar or Jester or something, Merlin. I can't remember whichever the third one is. Plus you get the MiG-28 or the F5 decals too. And the 48 scale one also comes with a masking set for the Tamiya kit, a camping mask, which again, you don't, hopefully I'm doing my own now, so you don't necessarily, I don't necessarily need that. But markings for the aircraft, you build all of them out in this one pack. And nice, because the 48 scale one comes with helmet decals too. So you get the Maverick decals and everything to match. And the 48 scale should be a pretty good size for that. So got those decals. Again, you know, see that kind of stuff, you need to get them. And this is Def Model. This is, I think Fightertown did these decals a few years ago. They sold out, you can't get them anymore. But Def Model or J8 Design is Def Model kind of decal brand, J8 Design. It doesn't really say it on here, but yeah. B&A in Australia have these pretty cheap. That's where I got them from. And you can find them online as well. So also got, I put them in a box already. I'm going to get these out. The same decals in semi-second scale. So I got the 48 scale ones and I got the semi-second scale ones. And exactly the same deal, but this one there's no canopy mask and no helmet decals, which kind of sucks. But the helmet's going to be so small in semi-second scale, it's, I don't know, maybe you can't see it. But again, another pack of decals. Again, these aren't very expensive at all, especially semi-second scale. And moving along to the decal theme, while I was ordering this stuff, I threw in a canopy mask set for the Apache, the Israeli Apache helicopter. I got the AH-64DI. So a few things I'm doing for that one. There's a few things I need. So a canopy mask set. I've ordered a Quintus Studios cockpit set, full detail. That's won't be here for a couple of weeks. It just got released. It's not quite out yet. So I pre-ordered that one, and ordering the decal set, which I've ordered, which weren't cheap at all. I ordered the Israel decals, Israeli Apache decals. I heard the kit, the Takom kit, has really bad decals. My one doesn't look so bad, so maybe it's more the regular one. Maybe this is a later version, the Israeli one. Maybe they manufactured a few months later. The decals weren't that bad, but just to be safe, I did order the decals, and they weren't cheap. They were $14, but then $20 shipping from Israel. So $34 for a set of decals. I got the Quinta Studio set, and I got the canopy mask, and that gives me everything I need to get a really nice Apache out of that Takom kit. There's also some really good build videos on there, like Nigel's modeling bench, some other videos out there right now. So I know the instructions are crap, but there's so much material out there online, you should be able to build that one pretty okay. I think an Apache nowadays, if you are thinking about building one. Meng obviously brought out a really nice one too, but Meng don't have the Israeli version. So the Israeli version, which I have, is, as you saw previous months, is beefed up, like the color scheme better, the desert color, tans and stuff, and it looks a lot nicer. So I got the mask set, and finally, next set of stuff I'm going to show you here. Again, you can see the theme. I've got the Academy F14A 70-second scale, the small guy. Again, good. I think I'm going to Top Gun one with this one to go with the decals I just showed you. So with this Academy, bad marketing. They put A on there, but you can build any version out of the box. So I don't know why they wouldn't publicize it and maybe sell more of them, but maybe they got other versions down the line. I know they sell B, but not a D. But you can build. They've got both engines in here. They've got both instrument panel sets. They've got all the stuff you need. I've seen online. You can build an A, B, or D out of it. The only thing is, I think there's maybe a TARP pod or some kind of pod for a D isn't in the kit, but that's no big deal. You can find those pretty easily. And obviously, just the decals in this box are for A. But again, I'm gonna do a Top Gun one on this one. So not sure which of the Top Gun ones, and I've got some cool reference stuff we'll talk about in a minute. I'll share with you guys as well. So yeah, looking kit, and it's interesting size wise, keeping the set F14 theme going here. If I can find it. That's your, it's just not a bad size in 70-second, it's not tiny. And I know I've sold my 70-second scale kits recently, and a lot of you guys watching this have bought some really nice kits for me, some great hobbies ones and stuff. But after building Nimrod on 70-second, I just figured I want to do this one too. So size-wise, this is your 30-second scale one, and this is your 70-second scale one. So there we go. So looks a really nice kit. Not built this one. To be honest, it's out of the box, it's pretty nice. But then I started buying some aftermarket, and you know how it goes. You go down a rabbit hole and buying the kit, and then the same place sells the aftermarket, and it's really cheap at 70-second scales. You see it, think, oh, buy it, and before you know it, I bought 6 aftermarkets, and I spent the same amount on this kit as I would have done, same cost as this 48 scale Tamiya F14 probably. So there you go. So I bought the seamless intakes. I don't know if anybody likes doing intake seams, and for me, for $9, I think it was worth it, get the seamless ones. So I bought seamless intakes, and again, $9 for not too much, but we start adding up. So we've got the decals, obviously, we talked about already. Res kit, never had the res kit stuff before. Looks really good online, the CAD drawing. So I bought the exhaust nozzles. Again, maybe like a $10, $15. Again, adds up, but again, sounds cheap individually. So I bought the exhaust nozzles. Looking at them, I think the kit ones would be more than fine. There's a lot of parts in this. It's very involved. I think they'll look okay, but a little disappointed. I mean, I've seen the CAD stuff and it looked 3D printed and looks awesome. This looks very Aries-esque, like the Aries stuff, to be honest with you. A lot of parts in there, and for the 70-second scale, it's probably not even worth it. 48, 30-second for sure, but again, they weren't that expensive, so I thought, I'd try them out. So I got the exhaust nozzles, and I did buy the Quinta Studios set too. Again, 70-second scale, you don't really need it. Decals come with a kit for the instruments. Haven't received that yet. That will ship with the same order as the Apache stuff. And finally, I bought pilots, because you know pilots. The Def models, this was again really cheap. I want to say about $7. And this is Def models, 70-second scale, F14A pilots, obviously I'm actually A. They do a D set as well. It's different masks, upgraded masks, and equipment stuff. These are super tiny, 70-second scale. Obviously I painted 70-second scale before the dioramas, but there we go. That's how tiny they are. That's what you get for $7. A little bit of 3D printing now. But hey, if you're going to do it in flight, you need these, right? So One thing is, I mentioned I don't have the helmet decals for the Top Gun for the 72nd scale kit. There's a guy on eBay selling them if I want to go that route. But again, the size of them, might just paint the helmet color. You may not even see, you know, less. We'll see how it looks. You may not even see that kind of detail in this size. That is really it. So I got hooked up with the F14A, a few other little things, the tools and stuff we saw, and then the other thing I managed to get my hands on are some really cool reference stuff. These guys. Now, I saw one video, I think Prime Model Works, was Sean over there built a few Top Gun F14s, and I saw him wave one of these guys around, and I thought it looked pretty cool, so I reached out to him. Nice guy, responded right back, and he said, you know, he upgraded his emails, and he lost them, doesn't have them anymore. So did a lot of research, falling around the internet, and found there's a guy out there called Matt Lawler, who's like the subject matter expert for Top Gun props. He has a prop Facebook group, and he knows everything about Top Gun and all the props and anything ever used in that original movie. And he created these awesome, basically, weathering guides, panel fading guides, whatever you want to call them, you can see for each aircraft. So you can see there how it all fades, and how the real actual aircraft in the movies, frame by frame, he's taken images and replicated them here on these. So I've got the camera bird, not so exciting. I've got the Cougar Merlin bird, and you notice it's a little different with the weathered, and the airframes, Iceman and Slider. This one's the most interesting, I think, in terms of, like, see the colours and stuff on there. And finally, Maverick and Goose, number 114. And again, you can see, hold it, wait, you can see how, it's a really good reference here, how it's all faded, the panels, and how much a real movie one was. So I'm going to use that to replicate, it's big enough on the 72nd scale there. I'm going to take whichever one I decide to do, I'm going to take this and replicate it best I can to make it movie accurate or whatever. So really good. So I printed these off. I actually got the PDFs and managed to get hold of the PDFs, and I could print my own printer, but I thought, you know what? Let's make them nice, a nice thick glossy paper. So FedEx office, just uploaded the PDFs online, picked up my local FedEx office, and it was like $2.20 to get these 4 printed. So yeah, really nice reference stuff. Again, nice thick glossy paper. Now I did another plug. I did put these up on my Patreon as well. So links as always below. So if you want to download these, you should open my Patreon. I put links for all these plus more. There's like 20 attachments. There's even like the obscure like helicopters and the carrier deck, and pretty much aircraft on that movie, we've got some kind of reference picture or some kind of guide to it. The F5 or the MiG-28 showing again the black fading on them as well. I didn't print those out for now, but they're on my Patreon group if you want to get hold of these images and print them out yourself, or like I did, to send them to FedEx and have them print on nice paper. And that really is it, I think. A little choppy. I know there'll be a couple of chop cuts in this video because I've been with distractions and background noise and some kittens jumping on the screen and stuff. So hopefully I'll get it edited and flow it on a nice kind of cohesive 20-30 minute video. So that's my main update video. Upcoming month, watch out for on YouTube. Pretty much will be just the Millennium Falcon once a month video. I'll do another bench update video just before probably Halloween, because we're mid-September, so mid-October I'll do my next monthly bench update video. And on Patreon, I'll start, well, as always, my weekly video on Wednesday, I'll start showcasing, as I go through this and filming some of that stuff as well. So thank you as always for your support and for watching. Talking a lot here, a lot of stuff. Feel like I'm rambling a little bit. So hopefully you like this video, and I'll catch you next time. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps. I'm over 8,000 subscribers now, which is super awesome as I head towards 10,000. And at some point later this year, I will do a giveaway as well for one of those gallery airbrushes. So keep watching. Maybe next month or maybe towards Christmas, I'll do a giveaway for that airbrush, which I got 2. So one I'll give away. But yeah, thank you. Catch you next time. Bye.